Hi, I'm Janet Raftis, Quantum Creatrix and Divine Feminine Channel, and I am going to talk with you today about the energy of the Dark Goddess. And so this is an archetype that is intense, and whether you fully resonate with the Dark Goddess energy or not, it is one that you can use to experience deep healing and also to really understand yourself on in a very thorough way. So the Dark Goddess is not one of my primary archetypes. You can probably tell because I'm wearing something that's much more aligned with the healer, medicine woman archetype or the mystic archetype. But the Dark Goddess, working with her energy has been so powerful for me. It has been one of the most powerful opportunities for me to really shift, not just to do deep healing, though I've done really deep healing with it, but also to really shift sort of my paradigm around life, like how I interact with the rhythm of nature and the moon and cycles and how I perceive things. I'm able to really go with the flow and understand the cyclical nature of things in a much more empowering way through my work with the Dark Goddess. So the Dark Goddess is an archetype that resonates to goddesses such as the Morrigan, Medusa, Persephone, Lilith, Nyx, Aquilanda, Kali. So these are goddess energies that strip things down. Now, there's a lot of overlap, so you'll notice some of those goddesses are also mystic goddesses, healer goddesses, so forth and so on. There's a lot of overlap in the archetypes, but what these archetypes all have in common is that they are about cracking you open, cracking you open so that you can get into the shadows, so that you can get into the darkness, so that you can let the darkness reveal to you what is desirous of coming forth to be healed and transformed. And this is, I think, transformation is a word that really works with the Dark Goddess. It is because the transformation is hugely life-altering when you work with the Dark Goddess. And so the Dark Goddess takes you into the shadow. She supports you in shadow work. She is liberating. She's transforming. She heals through alchemy, shadow work, trance states. The Dark Goddess is connected to the energies of witchcraft, magic, sorcery. She has the gift of divination and sight. She is very sexual, but this is all when the Dark Goddess is in her light side, right? Dark Goddess, light side, when she's in her power, so to speak, because the Dark Goddess does have some wounds. So these are all, this liberation, transformation, the gifts of divination, sight, owning her sexuality, very, very sexual archetype, in a really empowered way. And she has an insatiable need to know the truth. Now, this insatiable need to know the truth can be super intense and it can create problems. Now, some of the shadow sides of the Dark Goddess are that she can get stuck in the shadows. She can get stuck in her wounding. She can be subject to witch wounding from past lifetimes in which maybe she was working with these energies before and persecuted for it. She might alienate others because of her intensity, because the Dark Goddess energy is one that doesn't F around. Like, she's not going to take your disembodied, gloss over answer. She's not gonna, if she asks you how you're doing and you're like, I'm fine, and you're not fine, she's gonna be like, wait a minute. You're not fine, and let's get to the bottom of this. And that is her gift. That's her gift. And also sometimes for the population that doesn't resonate with this energy, or who struggles with this energy, it can feel really uncomfortable. And so sometimes the Dark Goddess will find herself in a space, or somebody who resonates with this archetype will find herself in a space of feeling alienated She might also be demonized by others, and that's something to watch out for. For the Dark Goddess archetype, I feel like there's a lot of finding balance here, is like finding how you can be your intense self, and also having done your own healing work to really be able to bring it through from the heart, right? Versus bringing it through in triggers. The Dark Goddess, if she had an astrological sign, it would be Scorpio, right? And Scorpios can be, you know, I mean, what a gift that we have it's the same similar archetype, right? A gift that we have this, the people that resonate with this archetypal wisdom of going deep and getting into the shadows. And also, when it's done through having done healing work, feeling balanced and feeling and being embodied, then the presentation of it is more graceful. I'll say it's more graceful. And so that means that, you know, a lot of times the Dark Goddess energy can, if that person who holds that archetype is not working with their own wounding, you know, sometimes it can be really like going into other people's wounding and other people's shadow at the expense of looking at one's own. And so that is important, right? Because otherwise all of the Dark Goddess energy can come off in triggers as being very intense, very caustic, very triggering for other people. So, but like I said before, the Dark Goddess energy is one of the, it's a beautiful energy to work with when you're wanting to do healing work, and when you're wanting to really vibe with the cyclical nature of the world and the universe. So a few ways that you can activate the psychic insight of the Dark Goddess, and the Dark Goddess has a very unique, in ways, psychic lens, so to speak. So to activate that, and a lot of times they are seers and diviners, right? They have psychic sight. If you're working with the goddess Hecate, she is a goddess that will really help you to activate psychic vision and magical properties, right? Your ability to work with magic. She is one of the things that she's a goddess of magic. That's one way that you can activate that sight. I wasn't even going to talk about that, but working with Hecate is a great way to really align with the archetypal resonance of psychic vision and magic. So you can work with her by calling her in, working with her at your altar, putting things on the altar that resonate with her energy, and really inviting her to show you and be a guide for you to really actively work with you. And anytime you call on a goddess archetype to work with you, or a goddess in particular, I have found that she shows up. The goddesses show up for you. And so that's one way. You can also really focus on becoming attuned to the triple nature of the rhythms, right? And the rhythms of the life, death, and rebirth cycle. The Dark Goddess really, really resonates to crone wisdom, but that doesn't mean that you need to be a crone to work with the Dark Goddess energy. It's just that there's an alignment there, because going way back, when it was a matriarchal goddess-centric society, over 5,000 years ago, the patriarchy started to rise about 5,000 years ago. Back in that time, the Dark Goddess was associated with the crone. And so a lot of those goddesses, not all, but a lot of them that I mentioned earlier, are crone goddesses. And there is so much wisdom in the crone, and the crone is like done given enough, right? Like she has lived enough of her life to like not care what people think anymore, right? But she's also coming into that phase of life that is getting closer and closer to the death part of the journey, right? And so she's attuned to that, and she's not afraid of death. We have a society now that's very afraid of the crone and very afraid of these cycles and afraid of the Dark Goddess, because we are afraid of death as a society in general, right? And so attuning to the life, death, rebirth cyclical nature of how it all works, and even us, right? We will die. It's the only guarantee we have when we come into this form, is that one day we will die. We don't know when, but it's gonna happen, right? And so attuning to that as and to the archetype in that, noticing the cycles, right? Noticing how the cycles are unfolding, being present to the cycles, communing with the cycles, working with the cycles of the moon, right? So doing ritual work, magic work within, this is the next point, doing magic work within the cycles of the moon and honoring the cycles of the moon, especially for the dark goddess, the dark moon. The dark moon is like the most psychic time of the month for those who resonate with feminine energy. It is a time when your psychic abilities are at their peak. And then also tuning into, so knowing that, and knowing that you can really work some really beautiful, do some real beautiful soul work on those days, those dark moon days, that you can really tap into the nature. It's 11:11. Really tap into the nature of the goddess. Then you can take that, that will open you up to becoming even more psychic. So, you know, as you're doing your magic, as you're tuning into that moon cycle, journal, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to what's coming up, pay attention to what you're noticing, and allow that to guide you. You're going to start to notice trends, and those trends will support you in understanding on an intuitive level your own nature. And that's a gift. That's a real gift. With the magic, practice, you know, magic that works with different parts of the cycles. So tapping into, you know, rituals for the new moon, rituals for the full moon, rituals for the waxing gibbous moon, you know, and noticing how you interact and how that deepens over time. All of those things will really support you in opening up your psychic gifts that are aligned with this dark goddess archetype. Now, the other thing is that dark goddess energy is also the psychopomp energy. And that is, the psychopomps are who the energy, the person or the spiritual vibration of an entity that takes those who have passed and crosses them over. They're like the guides from death to the afterlife to rebirth eventually. So dark goddess archetypal energy is very aligned with that. You may, even if this is an archetype that's strong for you, you may notice that you have this gift of connecting as a medium, connecting into the unseen and those who are earthbound and who need help. So I encourage you, if this is something that is interesting to you, to learn. You know, I don't suggest just going out and trying it on your own, because working in this field, there's a lot of energy out there. Not all of it is happy-go-lucky. The dark goddess does not, she deals with some light energy, but she's the one who deals with the dark, heavy energy. I'm thinking of one person I know who is, really resonates to this archetype, and she is a demon slayer, you know? So this, I say that to like show, I mean, you don't have to be a demon slayer, but that if this is something that is interesting and intriguing to you, find a teacher, learn how to do it, and learn how to do it in a way that, you know, supports your overall health and well-being. So that's another way to really activate that. And in the meantime, tune in to the energies around you. Notice when you're in an old home, just notice the energies. When you're in a certain part, like here where I live in Atlanta, certain parts of the city still have a lot of energetic resonance or energetic leftover debris from the Civil War, and you can be in certain parts and you can feel it. If you have places like that in where you live, tune into the energies and just see what you notice, because dark goddess will notice a lot of what is present there. Now, for the Dark Goddess to support yourself because you are dealing with really, really heavy stuff. Cleanse your energy on a regular basis. This is really important. A lot of Dark Goddess archetypal energies, magic, works with protection. You know, I steer away from the word protection because I don't like to feel like I need to protect myself from things. But if protection, that's a personal thing, it's a personal experience. If you have a different experience with protection, work with it that way. Work with it. So even though I don't use protection spells, so to speak, I do a lot of energetic care to my body and the space I'm in, right? I curate my energetic space. Dark Goddess archetype needs to curate her energetic space and the energy of her body, releasing things, cleansing things, making sure you are good. Organize your life to the rhythms of the moon, not only for magic and psychic awakening, but also because your body will feel better. Your body will feel better. So as much as you can organize your schedule around like, you know, typically we have more energy. This may not be true for you, but charting your energy over the course of a month can support you in understanding your cycle. So for example, for me, when the moon is waxing and up to full, I have a lot more energy than when it's waning. And especially as we get into the dark moon time, that's kind of when I want to rest. So the more you can do that and pay attention to that, the more your body will align naturally and you'll feel more flow in your life. You'll be resting when you need to rest. You'll be energized and doing things that are energetic when you have the energy to do them. So also it can be, because the energy of this archetype is so intense, and especially if this was a strong archetype for you, seek out other people who understand you. Take classes, learn magic with others, you know, learn how to, you know, take mediumship courses, be in spaces with other people who understand you, because this will also be a form of self-care that will help you to have a good energetic exchange with others who are interested in the same thing and who understand and vibrate to the same frequencies that you do. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I will be on this channel talking a lot about different goddess archetypes, but also talking about different goddesses, sharing transmissions from them, sharing channelings from them, talking about all things divine feminine. I would love for you to be a part of my community here. So go ahead, and if that feels aligned for you, hit subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.